Yeah, hello everyone. Good afternoon to you all. Um, please let us know where you're joining us from. My name is Akia Safo, and yes, we are live, we are live, we are live. Let me see your comments where you are joining us from so that we can move on with today's class. We didn't we were facing a lot of challenges with the network, but I had to change location so that we could go on with today's class. And I am glad we could we could finally make it. So let us see where you are joining in from. If you can hear me, if you can see me, please let me know in the comment section that you can see and you can hear me. Okay. So thank you all for joining. If you are catching a replay too, I welcome you here, and you can share this link to other people, other parents, so that they can also learn something from what we teach. So today we are going to look at how to get your child to change from bad behaviors. Most of the time, I hear parents, some time back, I was actually having a conversation with one parent, and she was like, my child cannot change. Like, she was saying all sort of things, like she has done this, she has done that. And I told her, it is possible. See, change is possible. Change is possible for everyone. We just need to know what we have to do to make that change come alive. Okay. So I just had to tell her that her child is not changing because, of course, she's doing what she knows. Okay. She's doing the things that she knows, but she's not doing everything because she doesn't know everything. And she hasn't learned how to really get the child to change, to do what she likes. So let's look at this before we start anything going in deeper. Let's look at why it's difficult for children to actually listen to us or to even change from their bad behaviors. First of all, it's because we lack understanding of child development. We don't know how a child's brain works. We lack knowledge in those areas. So it's difficult for us to sometimes, as we because we don't understand how the child's brain works, we are unable to understand the child. We expect that this child has to be perfect. This child, we expect them to actually behave like we adults. But that can't be possible. A child has to be a child. A child has to be a child. You can't force a child to behave like an adult. Their brain are not developed. I usually give this example, okay, that imagine you go on another planet and you are new there, you don't know anything, how they do their things there. You go there and then they teach you one, two, three. This is how these are done, and all of that. And you make mistakes every time you try to do something, and all they do is to beat you. You are going to like you won't get anything, you won't understand anything, because in the first place they don't even have the patience to teach you, and they don't understand that you are from a different planet. So this is how they have to teach you. So once they begin to understand, okay, this person is new here, this is how maybe things were working from where they were, so now that they are in a different place, this is how we need to tackle it. If we understand that the children are new here on earth, and it takes 24 years for the child's brain to develop. So imagine if your child is young and you expect that the child should know the right thing to do, the child should be able to do this, all of that. Meanwhile, you haven't also taught that child how to go about it. And even if you have taught the child, it will take time. So we need to understand that the child's brain takes some time to develop. So there are certain things that we need to know, we need to expect, and we need to know that this is how the child's brain will work. So, okay, when I'm teaching the child or when I'm dealing with the child, these are the basic understandings that I need to have. It will help every parent be able to understand better how, to go about training their child. And another thing is that we are also modeling bad behaviors. Yes, children copy a lot. I always say this: a child will do what you are doing, not what you tell them to do. A child will always do what you do. They will copy the way you are yelling at them, the way you are insulting them all the time. The way you don't listen. That is exactly how they won't listen to you. So you want to check yourself. You are a leader. You are a parent and you are a leader. The moment you become a parent, you lose that right to do everything, whatever you want. And you tell yourself that this is how I am, so I can't change. Like you see, most parents tell themselves these things. This is how I am. This is how I am. No, the moment you become a parent, you lose that right. You can't do whatever thing that you want. There are certain things you need to be mindful because of your child, because someone is watching. Previously, there was no one watching, but now your child is watching you. So you need to be careful. You need to be mindful of the behaviors that you are putting up, because what you are doing is what your child will also do someday, or even like then. Now, what you are doing is what they are also doing. So if you want them to put up the right attitudes, you also have to put up or show the right attitude. And the next thing is that we are very inconsistent. Our children, today we are telling them this, tomorrow we are yelling, today we are giving like a whole lot of things. We are not consistent with how we discipline our children. We are not consistent with anything, the consequences we give them. You tell them today, okay, after playing with your Legos and you don't pick them, I'll not let you play with them for, let's say, the whole of next week. And then next week comes, you give it to them to play. So you are not consistent with even your disciplinary approach. You are not consistent with anything. So it confuses the child. And the child is unable he doesn't know which one is right, which one is wrong. So it confuses the child and they don't know what to do at the end of the day. So inconsistency is one thing that makes it difficult for a child to change from their bad behaviors. And another thing is lack of emotional control on the part of the parent. We are unable to control ourselves. We are unable to control ourselves. Emotional control is something. Emotional intelligence is something, a basic thing, a basic skill that every parent must have. Once you become a parent, you need to, do courses on emotional intelligence, because children are going to try you. Parenting is very difficult, and your children will tell you, will put up all sort of behaviors, things that you have done your part, things that that you have taught them. They will still repeat certain behaviors. So without emotional intelligence, you can't parent effectively. And because we lack emotional intelligence, because we can't control ourselves, we react, we do all sort of things. Because of lack of emotional control. And another thing is that there is no effective communication. We can't communicate effectively. We say things anyhow, as I said, because of how we feel at a point in time. So we say anything, we open our mouth and we say anything. But irrespective, these are challenges, and these are the reasons why our children don't ever change in their behaviors. Even if they want to change, it's difficult for them to change because we are not helping them as parents. We are also not doing our part. We are not helping these children to be able to put up or change from their negative behaviors. Now I'm going to give some principles, okay? Principles that we need to take note of to be able to make change, for change to be able to happen. I say that most parents actually think that it is not possible. Like some parents tell me that I can't learn parenting because my child will never change and all of that. And I tell them, see, you are not ready, okay? You are not ready to actually learn more. And you think that we are most of the time focused on quick fixes. We want things that we will do now and get results now. We don't want to go through the process. And anything that you don't build a habit around, you can't change anything like that. You can't change anything without passing it through a curriculum. You can't do something today and expect that thing to give you results the next minute. No, it's not possible. So we need to know. I'm going to give us some principles to take note of if we want to really cause change in our lives, even in our lives, in the lives of our children, from these bad behaviors and attitudes. we need to take note of these principles. First of all, we need to note that most behaviors and attitudes are learned. Most behaviors and attitudes are learned. So it is true, some behaviors may be influenced by, biological factors and genetics, but we also need to know that most of the behaviors that these children put up, they learn it. They learn either from us, parents, they learn from their environment, the schools they attend, the people around them. They learn these things from us and the people around them. So we need to know that if these behaviors can be learned, then it means they can unlearn and learn positive behaviors. That is the first mindset that we need to have. If my child can learn negative behaviors, they can also learn positive behaviors. It is very true. We need to take note of that. Please let us all find. Please, if you don't have any book, anything, if you're not taking notes, please, I would entreat you to take some notes so that you can begin now to work on it. Because of course there are the rate at which misbehaviors, children are actually putting up misbehaviors. It is sometimes you hear some things and you are like, wow. Sometimes we hear the things that we hear. So we need to really work on ourselves. Parenting begins with us. Change must begin with you, the parent, not the child. Stop focusing too much on the child. It is with you. It is all about you. The moment you realize that it is about you, how you respond, how you do certain things will change, and you'll be able to help the child. So let us take a point, take this point very seriously. We need to know that learning a positive behavior is also possible. So let's have that at the back of our mind. The next thing is that most behaviors can be changed. Yes, most behaviors can be changed. Behaviors and attitudes are learned and they can be changed. So anything that is learned can be unlearned. Anything that you learn, if you are willing to make changes, if you tell yourself that you are going to help your child to change from this bad attitude, you will be able to change that. But if you already have it in your mind that this behavior, I can't help my child because I've done anything and the child is not changing. No, you haven't done anything. No, you have done what you know. You haven't done anything. It is only what you know. So you have to tell yourself that this misbehavior can change. So far as you are willing to know what to do to help the child, you will be able to help the child change from that attitude. So please, let's take note of that. And the next point is that most behaviors need intervention. Most behaviors need intervention. Sometimes you could hear parents say, this my child's attitude is a stage in their life. And as they grow, they will get better. I've heard it like over 1,000 times that it's normal. Let them misbehave. At this stage, they will misbehave. And as they grow, they will change. Who told you? If you don't do something, if you don't do what you have to do, if you don't help the child, they will grow with that negative behavior. And it will later become something that you can't do anything about. There are parents who, could have done something when the children are young. I always say that is the best time to correct anything. If you wait and we say it in Chi as then your child will grow with that negative attitude. When they grow, it's difficult. If you ask anyone raising a teenager or a young adult, it's really difficult. So when your child is young, that is the best time to teach, to correct, to guide, to build skills when they are young. Don't tell yourself that you are waiting for them to grow before you teach them certain things. No. When your child is young, let them wash their dishes. Let them clean up after themselves. When they play with their Legos, their puzzles, let them pick them up. You need to be patient with them. Sometimes they will be slow. As adults, we want things done quickly. So we mostly don't have the patience for the children to learn. But I tell you, these skills are what build the child. In schools, some time ago, I saw a video of some Chinese children, kindergarten children, Chinese, and they were cooking. They were in school. Oh, they weren't learning ABCD or 1, 2, 3. They were learning how to cook. They were learning after they cook, they prepare their meals. They will serve themselves. They were learning how to do some home activities, how to do so many activities. So imagine, I ask myself, so our children are going to grow to compete with these children. These children who are now learning these skills, we are waiting for them to grow before we teach them these skills. But they have started earlier, teaching these children as young as 2 years old, 3 years old. They are preparing their own meal. They are, serving themselves. They eat and clean up, wash their plates themselves. But over here, once our children finish eating, we pick up the bowls and go take them to the kitchen, wash them ourselves. We don't let the children do anything. And you say you want to raise a leader who cannot even serve himself? How can he serve the people? How? So please, parents, let us know that it's important. Building skills is so important. It's so, 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 so important. So let us, some behaviors that our children put up, we need, especially when they are very young and you see them doing certain things, please intervene. Whatever you have to do to ensure that this child changes. And if I say whatever you have to do, I don't mean go and beat the child or go and yell at the child. Those things hasn't worked since. Our parents started shouting at us, yelling, beating us, and still these problems are still there. So even yourself, ask yourself, you've been shouting and yelling at your kids, and has the behavior gotten better? No. The children are still putting up those behaviors. So it is a point, or it is something that should tell you that this approach isn't working. So let me change and use a different approach. If your child is misbehaving, it is a time to even connect more with the child. It is a time to connect more with the child so that you can guide appropriately and correct the child. Let us take note of that. It's important. Without connection, you will just do anything and they will be looking at you like that. They won't even mind you. So, dear parents, let's stop telling ourselves that once they grow, this behavior will get better. So I'll not pay attention to it. I'll just leave them to do whatever they want. No, don't leave your child to do whatever they want. When you have to intervene, please do. Please do. It is very, very, very important. We shouldn't wait and leave things to chance and expect like change should just happen like that. No, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you don't change, if you don't want to cause change, change won't automatically happen. So we need to take note of these things. Please, dear parents, we can do it. For me, I believe that everything is possible. Once we tell ourselves that we can do it, we can do it. Words are powerful. Our words, what we say, if you believe you can, you can. And if you believe you can't, you can't. So you need to choose what you believe. Know that there is power in words. So mind the words you say. We can do something to help these kids. They need our help. They need us. They need us. So the other point is that change agents must also alter their response. Who are the change agents? We are the change agents. We the parents. How are we responding to, when our children put up certain behaviors? How do we respond to it? We say anything at all we want to say because we think they are children. We don't respect them. And we expect them to respect us. How is that possible? It's not possible. So parenting begins with you. Change must start from you. Change must start from you. This week, the parents in the inner tribe, we sent out mails, and most of what we spoke about was that parenting begins with you. It's all about you. Everything, like, no matter how you want to put it, it's not about the child. Once you, the parent, change, once you work on yourself, everything changes. Everything changes. I used to shout at my kids, but I realized that I was actually previously, some years back, I was actually looking at how, I didn't know what to do actually. So I'll shout. Sometimes I will shout at them. They will go angry. They wouldn't, do what you want them to do, and then I'll change my response, and I'll go down to their level, talk to them, maintain this eye contact and talk to them calmly, slowly. And immediately I did that, I could see that I was able to influence them more. So I was like, then if this strategy is going to work, why do I have to shout at my child? Why do I have to shout at them? You could see some homes in the morning, they wake up the children feel sleepy, like they have to go to school. So, of course, they have to wake up early. And you wake the child up, the child is still there, they feel tired, and we are shouting at the children. And they go to school, they are not able to focus. They go to school, they are not able to concentrate. How? How can we raise a strong generation when we are always shouting at these kids, when we are always yelling at them? Let's have empathy. You wake up in the morning, you wake your child up. You let the child, know that you understand how they are feeling. It's true, waking up early in the morning is difficult, but baby, we have to wake up. We have to go to school, because if we don't wake up, if we don't, do the things we have to do very early in this morning, we won't be able to go to school, and we will be late for school. So we have to. I feel you. I know how it feels like. So when you tell your child these things, they know that mommy or daddy understands me. They know how I feel. So let me just get up and go, because despite how I'm feeling, I also need to get up, go take my bath, and do what I have to do to be able to go to school on time. So how we, the change makers, okay, what are we doing? The change agents. If we want our children to change, then we need to alter. We need to change how we are also responding. Less reactivity. Most of us are only reacting. Once the smallest thing the child does, everywhere, everyone must hear that the child has put up, has misbehaved. But we also misbehave at times, even as adults. Even as old as we are, we know most of the things, we have experienced a lot of things, and yet we are indisciplined, yet we misbehave. So why do you have to expect so much from a child? From a child, it all begins with us. Let us watch. Be mindful, okay? Be mindful. Ask yourself, is this how it's supposed to be? The yelling is normal to us. The shouting is normal to us, because, yes, that is how we've been made to believe that once your child is not, doing what you want them to do, the only thing is to yell or beat them. These are the experiences we've had from our childhood. But that is not it. The fact that it's something that has been normalized doesn't mean that that is the normal thing to do. No. Ask yourself, is there another way? Is there a better way to do things to help my child? If there is a better way, if there is another way, then why don't you choose that other way to help the child? Why don't we choose that other way? We can do better. Change begins with us. So let me give you some examples how you can be less reactive and more responsive. Okay, you can give a very effective response to your child. So you need to first of all stay calm as a parent. Be cool in your tone. Be calm in your tone. Don't shout. The moment your child do something that you want to yell, I feel you. See, I understand. I have been there. I have been there. But I know also that it's possible. Not every misbehavior needs your response immediately. Sometimes just keep quiet and ask yourself, if you feel like shouting, just leave where the child is, enter the room. Sometimes you need to give yourself time out. The child doesn't need time out. It's you, the parent, that needs time out. So excuse yourself, get somewhere. You can have a cool or some corner in your room where whenever you are, you have these feelings, you can just go there, sit down and calm down. Like take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out, stay calm, relax, and ask yourself, what can I do? What is wrong? Why is this child behaving like this? If you know the why behind that behavior, you'll be able to help the child. So calm down, cool your tone. Like sometimes you want to shout, you want to yell, but do it in a calm way. And another thing is that get close in proximity. Okay, being physically closer to your child increases the likelihood that he will comply. So the more closer you get to the child, you get closer to the child, you come down to the child's level, you maintain eye level with the child. Don't stand up. I read somewhere that once we are taller than these kids, and once they see a tall adult, an adult shouting, they get frightened, they become afraid, like an adult shouting at me. So in their minds, they are confused. Is this my mother? Is this my father? Do they love me? They are asking themselves a whole lot of questions. So instead of doing all of that, come down to their level. Once they see that, oh, we have the same eye level, so mom doesn't really want to harm me. Okay, you've gotten down, or daddy has gotten down to their level. You are talking in a calm tone and you are at their level. Okay, so the next thing is that you need to be direct. So whatever information that you want to pass on to them, you need to state it clearly. Sometimes we don't communicate clearly with these children. We say anything. So what I do most of the times is that I tell for instance, my son, I tell him, this is what I expect you to do. Okay. I tell him, and then I repeat myself again, and I ask him, did you understand what I said? He will say yes. Then I'll ask him to repeat what I said to me. So I will know that he really got it. Because most of the times we don't communicate clearly to these children. And we think they understood what we said. And then later they'll go and do a different thing. And then it will turn into a whole thing, like a whole different thing. So we need to communicate clearly and direct. Don't give like answers that the child will not listen, that will confuse the child more, or requests that will confuse the child more. We need to be clear, we need to be direct with whatever we want them to do. And the next thing is that we need to model the right attitude. Model. Don't tell your child it is ABC, and then you will come and do 1, 2, 3. No, please, parents, let us model. We are leaders. We are leaders. And as leaders, we need to put up the right attitude for our children, for the younger ones to also learn. The moment you become a parent, you lose that right to do whatever you want, because there is someone watching you. How you are communicating, how you are dressing, how you are doing, like everything that you are doing, they are watching. They are watching. So you want to be very, very intentional. You want to be mindful with the attitudes that you are putting up, especially the ones that you are criticizing them, you are telling them to stop doing, and all of that. You need to also ensure that you are not doing that thing that you are asking them to stop doing. And the next thing is that you are more likely to succeed if you target one change at a time. If you target one change at a time. So you know your child, okay? Maybe probably the child has lots of bad behaviors. So instead of like sometimes doing this, you have to do this, you want to change everything all at once. No, it won't work. And even if it will work, it gets overwhelming. So what you can do is that pick one thing. Maybe your child is mean. Okay, your child is mean. Now you've picked that thing. How can you help the child? I say that anything that you don't pass through a curriculum, you will never see any results. So sit down. Your child is mean. How can I help this child, to change from being mean to someone who understands people, to someone who is kind and empathetic? So you need to sit down to write the things. See, parenting, if you don't have time to parent, please don't go and give birth. And this is to you if you haven't given birth, because we need time to be able to do the work. You won't give birth and expect someone to take care of your child for you. You won't do that. So if you don't have time, take your time and do whatever you want to do before you go and give birth. So you need to pass the child through a curriculum. You put something down and then you pass the child through one step at a time, until you see that change has occurred. Then you move on to the next bad behavior. I hope you are taking notes. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, and you can still share this link to other parents to also join. If you are joining in now, I welcome you once again. So let's continue. You need to pass it through a curriculum. It's very important. So you write down that misbehavior and then you work on it gradually. And you also need to teach one skill at a time. So it comes hand in hand with the misbehavior. Once you know the misbehavior, you want to change. So what skill do you need to build? Your child is misbehaving because they lack a skill. So what skill do you need to build to help that child? You need to state it. So with us, we have every month, we have our theme. And our theme for this year in our home is on leadership. So we've broken it down every month. There are things that we are going to teach them every month. Okay, there are things that we are going to teach them every month. So this month we are talking about empathy. The following month we are talking about service. So the attributes of a leader is what we are teaching them. We've broken them down into different like that, and we are teaching it every month. We know what to teach every week. We've drawn a curriculum around it. So you need to be intentional. What you want to teach the child. Change. If you want to change something, you need to have time for it. You need to take your time, because it will take. You need to, pass through something, build it small. When you read James Clear book, Atomic Habits, you will see, the importance of taking something through a curriculum, working on it gradually to get the results that you want. So everything you need to know that you need to get a book. You need to get a family book. Go and get a family book and write at the back, this is my family book. So every misbehavior, you write it down. This is why I was saying you should join the inner tribe. Because these things, if you have no idea how to go about it, they will even confuse you the more. So you want to do that with your children. It's very important. If you are someone who is very intentional, you want to build something in your child, you need to have time for it. For that one, I will not lie to you. Without time, you can't really do anything to help the child. So the next thing that you have to do is that you have to know that every unacceptable behavior needs replacement. Every unacceptable behavior needs replacement. No behavior or attitude will change unless you teach another behavior or skill or habit, to replace that inappropriate behavior. So let's say your child is mean. Don't always focus on the fact that your child is mean. Ask yourself, so what can you do, or what do you expect the child what positive attitude you expect the child to put up. So you want your child to be kind. Okay, so now you have a clear picture of what you want your child to become. Then you can start planning on it. Don't don't try to. Sometimes we yell, we beat the children because we are also we want to prove something to other people that yes, we are the best parents. So when your child misbehaves in public, you beat the child, you shout at the child. You want other people to know that you are the, like, I don't know, you are the best parent. You are able to discipline your children well. No, don't focus on other people. Sometimes you need to discipline even in private. You don't have to disgrace your child in front of other people. When your child, I have a book with me, or even on my phone. When we go outside, I see something I don't like, I'll just type it there. When I come home, I'll look at it and then I'll call the child. Whatever we have to talk about, we'll talk about it. There's no perfect child, and there are no perfect parents. We are all learning every day to be able to help these children. So whenever you see something like that, don't always focus on the negative thing. My child is mean, my child is stealing, my child is like this, she's like this. No. Focus. What do you want that child to become? So you don't want you don't want your child to be someone who gossips. So what then do you want the child to become? Focus on that thing and help the child instead. Don't focus on the negative attitude. If you focus so much on it, you won't, it will even sometimes focusing on the bad things, makes us react in ways that we don't have to react. But if your focus is on the positive attitude, and you know that, okay, this is what I see my child put up, I don't like it, so I need to do something, this is what I need to do to help the child, then you plan on how you have to help the child. You focus on one attitude at a time, and then you work on it gradually. Give yourself time. Change won't happen like once, because we are always looking for quick fix. Someone will send you a message, what can I do to help my child? My child doesn't learn. How can I do? I want something that will make the child learn now. No. That misbehavior or whatever has taken a longer time to build. You don't expect that one day the child can just change in one day. No, it will take time. Consistently, it will take time. Even if you are doing it consistently, it will take time for you to see the change you want to see in the child. So let's begin to shift our mindsets. Okay, let's have like the right mindset. It will help us in raising our children. It will help us to even help the child more, because they need our help. They need our help. We are the ones who brought them into this world. They didn't come all by themselves. They didn't come to plead with us to give birth to them. We decided that we want to give birth. So why are we not helping them? Giving birth comes with so many responsibilities. So you can't give birth and then you expect someone to instead do the work for you. We held a class last year, and I spoke to the parents, and one of the parents told me that she gave that class that she was supposed to watch. She gave the class to the kids to watch. And I was like, how? The class isn't for the kids. That class isn't for the kids. It's for you, the parents, to watch, to learn, to help the child. There are certain things that children they don't even have to know. They don't even have to hear. There are some conversations that are not meant for the kids. But you buy a course and you give it to your children to watch. No, it is your responsibility to learn, to grow, to get better, to help the child. And anyway, if you're in the inner tribe, we are going to also organize classes for these kids. We are going to help the kids. We believe so much that once we are able to do something, we are willing to do the work. We will help, we will do everything that we have to do to ensure that we bring out the change that we want to see. For me, what really inspires me every day is that I want to see a different Africa. I know that Africans, we can get better. Like we can become better. But it's only a few challenges that we have. And once we are willing to change the things through how we are raising these children, if we all come together and tell ourselves that we are going to work hard to raise a whole new generation, we are going to rise. We are going to be generational shifters. We are going to be the people who are going to, cancel these generational curses. It ends with us. Once we have that in our minds, we will be able to raise a powerful generation. And this is what inspires me every day, every day, every day. Dear parents, let's all come together. I know it is possible. We can do it. Let's just change our mindset. Let's be ready to learn. And as we are learning, let's also be ready to implement some of the things that we learn. This is what will help us to be able to help these children so that we can build a new generation. Imagine we have leaders who are able to think about the people, leaders who have empathy, leaders who will not just come and tell you things and they will go back and do another thing just because they want your votes. Imagine we have leaders who are willing to make Africa great. Imagine we have leaders who will do everything possible to make sure that its people have a better place to be. Imagine we have these kind of leaders. It will all start now. I know someone will be asking themselves, my child will not come and be the president. My child is no. Don't think like that. Your child can become the next president in the country. Your child can become the next vice president. Your child can become the next minister, the next MP. It can be my child. It can be your child too. And even if they don't become, the ministers, the MPs, they can become pastors, they can become doctors, lawyers. I mean, so many. And once they have the rights, okay, Henry is greeting. Okay, I respond. Thank you for joining us. And we really appreciate you coming here. So we need to take note of that. And I have one area too that I'm thinking we've actually started. We go to schools to help teachers, because there are also teachers who don't even understand the brain of the child, and they do all sort of things to these children. Imagine, like, some people. I read I've forgotten his name. I read his book, Robin Sharma. In one of his books, he stated that it was one of his teachers that said some words to him that really made him who he is today. So imagine if our teachers are also able to encourage these children. Teachers can change a lot. So we've started working with schools also. So if you have maybe your child's school or anything that you think we can come there and help educate the students over there, the teachers and the parents in the school, we will be glad to also go there and help. So let us take note. I hope we have taken note of the points that we have mentioned here. And we need to, another thing that I want to also add to the principles that I have given you is that children need to rehearse the new behaviors that they learn. Anything that you learn, you need to rehearse. So sometimes you will have to role play, you do certain things. So if you want your child to be able to be confident, you need to show it, like role play in a situation. You ask yourself, your child, how are you going to react? Let's say you are acting it out for them to see it, so that when in real life it happens, they will be able to know. They will remember, okay, this is how we did it at home. So this is how I'm going to react, or this is how I'm going to do it whenever I encounter any challenge. We need to rehearse, like teach safety, how the child is going to, what the child will do when they find them in a place, when there's fire in a place, what do they have to do? Yesterday I learned that there was a man, his wife and 3 kids got burnt. They died as a result of a fire outbreak, and it was it's very sad. It's very sad. So we need to teach children what to do when there's a fire outbreak. When, safety skills is very important. It's very important. I just decided I brought it in because I think that is something that we need to teach. You need to teach them when there's fire, when you are in school, and let's say armed robbers come around, what are you going to do? What do you have to do? It is something we need to rehearse, practice with the children at home. Teach them safety skills. Don't expect your child to know everything. No, they don't know. So you draw a curriculum, you teach it. You draw a curriculum, you teach it. That's it. Don't leave everything to the teachers. These things, they are not taught in schools. The teacher doesn't teach these things. So it's up to us, the parents, to teach. You are a teacher. Once you are a parent, you are a teacher, you are a leader. So there are certain things you need to also teach the child. Draw a curriculum. These are the things I am teaching my children. The school has its own curriculum. So the home must also have its own curriculum. Your family needs to have its own curriculum. What is the curriculum you have? What is your curriculum? What curriculum are you passing your child through? And whether you are intentional about it or not, you are passing your child through something. So please, let us be mindful of these things. Let us be mindful of these things. We need to rehearse, practice the behaviors that we want to see in our children. And the final thing is that you need to know that change takes time. Change takes time. The quick fixes, don't go in for any quick fix. There's even like, why you've it's like you've been eating anyhow, you've grown, you've become very fat, your tummy has become very, very fat, bloated, and you want something that will make you lose weight within the next 1 week. It's not possible. You want something that will make you have a flat tummy within the next morning. It's not possible. You have taken time, you have, eaten anyhow, you haven't exercised. Sorry, you haven't exercised, you've done so many things to have that result. So if you want change, you need to go through a process, and it will take time. It will take consistent practice for some time for you to see the change that you desire to see. So don't wish for a quick fix. There is nothing like a quick fix. Just be willing to go through the process and tell yourself, see, even if you see a small win as you are working on whatever plans you have for your children, and even if you get a small win, celebrate the small wins. Celebrate the small wins, and it will encourage you to move ahead. Sometimes you have that results, you want your child to be all perfect, all of that, a child that everyone will be praising. Most of the time, these are the things we want just to satisfy our ego. But if you are able to also focus on the process, the things you are doing daily to ensure that your child change from their bad attitudes, if you are focusing on the daily habits, the daily things you are doing, you'll be able to help the child. You'll be able to help the child. Okay, Sarah Adi is saying that great teaching. I'm really learning a lot. God bless you, dear. Okay, God bless you too. And thank you for joining us. We are really very grateful to you. And so let's note that change takes time. Like it's all about, it's a mindset thing. Once you have a change of mindset, you'll be able to help the child. And there are certain things you will not worry yourself too much about. So thank you so much for joining us. I know and I hope that you have really had, you've really learned something. I know we've given you value. You've gotten value from this class, and you can still share this link, the same link, to your friends, to your family, to other parents to also learn. This is a free class for everyone, so don't learn it alone. Pass it on to other parents so that they can learn. If the parents or if the people in your community are conscious, okay, and if they know these things, it makes parenting easier. So I entreat you to share to your friends, to your family, so that they will also learn something from today's class. Now, I would want to introduce the Book Haven to you. It's my business, the Book Haven. We sell books and educational resources for children. If your child is unable to focus, okay, you need to just let them arrange puzzles. An activity as simple as arranging puzzles will help build focus in your child. You need to also learn if your child is unable to express themselves very well, if your child is unable to read, you need to start reading to your children. You need to start practicing certain things so that your child, will also be able to learn from them. So we have reading books, we have story books, we have Legos, puzzles. I mean, name it. We have it all. So you can reach out to us if you want any story books for yourself. We have books on parenting. If you need some to read, we can get some for you and all other resources. Thank you once again for joining us and see you next 2 weeks. Yes, at Tuesday Lives. It was supposed to be Tuesday yesterday, but there was an issue that needed my attention, so we needed to push it to today. So we meet every Tuesdays at 12 p.m. No, I think 2 weeks. Yeah, every 2 weeks. Tuesdays every 2 weeks. So next 2 weeks we are going to bring you another live session, but we will still, of course, continue with our daily normal post. So thank you so much for joining and have an amazing day. See you next 2 weeks. Bye bye.